Mercenaries have fought for ancient kings, for empires trying to control their subjects, for rebel factions trying to overthrow the current regime, for corporations trying to make an even bigger profit, and for nations attempting to secure their interests. At any time and place, there are men looking to make profit through war. These experts in warfare have changed the course of wars and added their names to history. In this series, we will cover mercenary groups throughout history, from ancient times to the modern era.
The first American volunteer group, known by its famous name, the Flying Tigers, was an American mercenary group serving China against the Japanese Empire, which sought to dominate Asia and the Pacific. This band of mercenaries consisted of veteran pilots and ground crews whose mission was to defend the Burma Road and stop Japanese bombings on Chinese cities. These mercenaries became legendary for their ace fighting skills and strategies, which would be forever remembered in history books. Claire Lee Chennault began to organize the unit months before America entered World War II. He secretly scouted through several military bases for recruits with quiet permission from the president. These recruits gave up their ranks and commissions and were allowed to leave the military with no consequences. They signed a contract with a Chinese shell company called Central Aircraft Manufacturing Company, CAMCO. Pilots were paid $600 to $700 per month. Ground crew was paid $250 per month, but pilots were given a bonus of $500 for every Japanese plane shot down, which was double the pay that the military offered. The total number of volunteers was around 300, 100 pilots, of which 60 came from the Navy and Marines and 40 from the Army Air Corps. Each man did it for a different reason, such as for money, to protect China from aggressors, or for the adventure. The men were assembled in Burma and were issued the Curtiss P-40B Warhawk fighter plane. The Warhawk consisted of a power plant, Allison V-1710-33 liquid-cooled V-12 engine, producing roughly 1,040 horsepower. Had a maximum speed of 345 to 352 miles per hour with a combat range of approximately 730 miles. Japanese planes lacked pilot armor, self-sealing fuel tanks, and a terrifying diving speed. Chennault built his entire tactical doctrine around those three facts. Dive, shoot, run, never turn, never slow down. Pick your fight, disengage on your terms. On December 7, 1941, the Japanese naval airplanes bombed Pearl Harbor, igniting war between the United States of America and Japan. 13 days later, the Flying Tigers saw combat to protect Chinese lines. 10 Japanese Kai-48 bombers were aiming to target Kunming, a Chinese city. Thanks to early warning from a civilian network, the Flying Tigers launched and intercepted the Ki-48s and destroyed 4 with no casualties themselves. The Japanese then retreated, saving Kunming from destruction. It was reported by the Japanese themselves that only 1 bomber returned home. A few days later, the Japanese targeted Burma with a much bigger force, with escort fighters called Nakajima Ki-27. Both the AVG and RAF intercepted these attacks, shooting down over 20 enemy aircraft, but the airfields and cities were hit, killing over 1,000 civilians, and several P-40s were shot down or bombed on the ground. On December 25th, an even bigger attack came from the Japanese. The Flying Tigers went against 63 bombers and 25 escort fighters. 35 Japanese aircraft were shot down at a loss of 5 P-40s, 2 pilots, a damaged airfield, and several aircraft were destroyed on the ground. Soon, the Flying Tigers adopted their famous shark teeth paintings. It wasn't a random idea. It was taken from RAF planes that had them in northern Africa. A Flying Tiger pilot, Charles Bond, saw it in a magazine and recommended it to Chennault, who said yes immediately. It was psychological warfare. It scared the Japanese and put the Flying Tigers on the map. The next few months, the AVG and RAF fought in the skies of Thailand, Burma, Vietnam, and China. With a growing number of victories, the AVG seemed to be unstoppable, but nothing is perfect. The Flying Tigers lost dozens of aircraft in air battles and bombing attacks by enemy bombers. Pilots received little medical care and poor food, and revolted when told to support Chinese ground troops with strafes, which some pilots argued was useless. The worst incident was when the Flying Tigers were supporting allies in Burma against advancing Japanese ground forces. With poor intelligence and a lack of visibility, the AVG accidentally killed over 100 Allied troops on the ground, mistaking them for a large Japanese force. During the months of fighting from December 1941 to July 1942, the AVG shot down 296 enemy aircraft while only losing 14 pilots in combat. This ratio was so high that no other unit in the Asia-Pacific would match it. They did all this while outnumbered and with inferior planes. This shows that tactical brilliance and skillful pilots can win battles against more advanced and numerous enemies. But the U.S. was officially in the war, and there was no need to keep troops hidden. Even with this high kill ratio, Army Command wanted control and ordered the AVG to be disbanded, which occurred on July 4, 1942, and was absorbed into a new Army Air Corps unit, the 23rd Fighter Group. Chennault and many pilots were frustrated with the Army's takeover and resisted it as much as possible, believing it would mess up the culture and combat edge that was in their favor. Plus, they felt disrespected by Army Command leadership, who insulted their service and background as mercenaries. Most of the American mercenaries would leave to return home instead of fighting for the military. A handful stayed behind to train or continue serving as pilots, crewmen, or leaders. While the 23rd Fighter Group performed well, they never reached the height of the original Flying Tigers, as the Mercs said. Time in the AVG Flying Tigers must have been a very unique experience, living in the jungle, dealing with poor conditions while dodging bombing raids and fighting in the air above Asia. They also loved and respected the Chinese people for their sacrifices in rescuing their downed pilots in the face of severe punishments by the Japanese. The lack of military restrictions and oversight must have felt good. This allowed them to be themselves and have greater freedom while serving. Their time may have been short, but their actions saved millions of lives and hurt the Japanese Empire. Their mission was a success. They got paid well, and most survived, making this a successful story of mercenaries. Books, documentaries, websites, and films have been made solely for them, dedicated to showing their heroic actions. The Flying Tigers really lived up to their reputation by following their motto, "We'll fly anything, anywhere, anytime."